French started developing as a language of its own during the 13th and 14th century. It was known as François back then, not as Français. It was taught and used in England, and it was known as a very polite and high-class language. Therefore, it was spoken in most of Europe. Unfortunately, because of the 100 Years' War, French was rejected by England and replaced by English. Though it continued and became independent. In the 17th century, French became known as a language of diplomacy and international relations. For that reason, it started to be spoken worldwide. It officially became a national language in 1539. Here are all the flags of the French-speaking countries around the world. There are around 26 countries with the main language of French. It is spoken as a first language by 72 million people in France, Belgium, Switzerland, and Canada, and it is spoken as the first language by around 136 million people worldwide. A total of 500 million people speak it as either a first language, a second language. French has been very influential throughout the years and still plays a large part as an internationally used language in global affairs. Today, Hebrew is only used in one country, Israel, though it is appreciated by other countries and religions because of its elderness. Hebrew is categorized as a Semitic language and is used both as a spoken language in Israel and in the Bible, which is admired by many people. Hebrew is known as one of the oldest living languages since it was written in the Bible. Hebrew is closely related to Aramaic, Phoenician, and Arabic. It is known that the Hebrew letters used today were used also by Moses. English began after the invasion of Britain by the 3 Germanic tribes during the 5th century AD. The tribes were named the Ingles, the Saxons, and the Jutes. They crossed Denmark and northern Germany. At that time, Britain spoke a Celtic language, though most Celtic speakers were invaded and started speaking a language called English by the English people. English is how the words English and England were formed. Old English lasted from 450 to 1010 AD and was developed by Britain. Then came Middle English that lasted from 1100 to 1500 AD. At that time, William the Conqueror of Normandy invaded England. As mentioned before, these invaders brought with them the language of French. When the English started to govern again in the 14th century, many French words were added to English. Even though it was very similar to English nowadays, Middle English would still be very hard for native speakers to understand. From the 16th century, the British started to communicate with the outside countries. This time period lasted from 1500 to 1800, and the language was called Early Modern English. As Late Modern English came from 1800 till today, you really tell the difference between early and late English. Vocabulary changed and words were added. Once the British Empire ruled 1/4 of Earth, English added some words from many other languages, while many countries learned this language. The English language took many steps for it to become an official language by adding many words from other languages. However, it is known today as the most spoken language throughout the world. Language is very important nowadays because it helps millions of people communicate within this world of different dialects. culture, and within the world of business. It is part of a speech that is important and sometimes needed for one's survival.